it's time for us to get going and talk about expense management. So welcome everyone. Very excited to see a nice group of folks on and wanting to find out the latest about expense management. Always hard at work improving the solution, and a lot of our new functions and features enhancements come from customer feedback. And so always interested in feedback, of course, and opportunities to continue to improve the solution. But today we're going to talk about our latest release, released a couple weeks ago. We do have semi-annual, biannual. I always forget which is which. I think it's semi-annual releases twice a year to coincide with the new releases of Business Central, and excited to cover those with you today. And I wanted to go through just a couple quick updates. If you're not familiar with Continia or expense management in particular, just go through those updates super quick, and then we're going to go through and review the new features and see a few demos as well. So let me go ahead and share my screen. I am Mark Rhodes, by the way, and if you're newer to Continia or expense management, just wanted to cover super quick with you. We do have a couple other solutions available in North America. One is document capture for the capture of inbound documents, really is a process automation solution for any inbound documents to capture those and save those inside BC or NAV. Folks usually start with capturing invoices because you can start seeing return on your investment day one. And of course, most businesses do have to deal with invoices. So a great place to start, but you can capture, again, anything coming into the organization like orders and confirmations and vendor information, et cetera, et cetera. We also have document output. That is for sending out communications to your external stakeholders. It really is a toolkit for compiling data, documents, reports in Business Central and sending those out to your customers and vendors. So remittance advices, order confirmation statements, reminders, et cetera, et cetera. And very, very flexible toolkit for, again, communicating out any data from BC, and you can hyper-personalize those communications, and it's very, very sophisticated in terms of figuring out who to send it to and what language and when and everything else. We'd be happy to do a in-depth demo of any of these solutions. Again, I'll put my email address in the chat, and any questions on those, or if you want to schedule a demo, please follow up, of course. Two things that really do separate us from most other add-on providers out there. One, we work through partners, and this is quite a different approach. And I'll tell you, in all the years that I've been doing projects and implementations, I really, really like this decision that management made a long time ago. Really, just it's simpler. It's much more efficient and much easier for the customer. And here's why. A typical project, if the add-on provider is installing and providing the support for that solution, they have to coordinate with the customer, get to know what the customer wants. The customer has to communicate with them. Then they have to coordinate with the partner, and back and forth, and it becomes this triangle of communication and workflow. We eliminate all of that. We work through partners. Our partners, of which we have close to 300 signed up across North America, they're the ones that actually implement, or I should say, sell the solution, implement it, and provide the support for our customers. So much, much quicker, much more efficient, and simpler, of course, for the customer. The other key difference is that we call it being built inside Business Central. Really, everyone else out there, typically you're going to run the solution separately and then rely on some sort of integration to pass that data back and forth between your core system and that other system. We're an extension, and so we're going to install inside BC, adding code, adding tables, really turbocharging the BC engine. And what that does, again, is save you time every day, which is pretty important, right? So certainly during the implementation, there's no integrations to build, tests, figure out, etc. And then every day, There's no other system to go to. It's all in one spot for you. So nothing to wait on. Everything is always current and picks up all of the new changes that you make to Business Central, of course, as well. So we really are just adding in functionality to BC and trying to keep it simple for you. Okay, so with that background, let's talk about expense management. And again, can do a full demo for you. Expense management, you know what? There's not a lot to it, quite frankly, right? We're capturing expenses. We want to review and approve them. We want to get those reimbursed or corporate credit card charges. We want to pay those charges, right? So the key for us is to make expenses go away as quickly as possible. I don't know that there's a higher non-value added activity for an organization than dealing with expenses. So we try to get it down to the fewest number of clicks and make it as efficient and quick and intuitive as possible, all the while making it configurable so it does adapt and support your processes for expenses. Everybody does it a little bit different, has a little bit different policies. So we try to provide you a very configurable solution to match that. But as fast as we can get those expenses through, we're trying to do that. So we're employing OCR technology, we're employing artificial intelligence, intelligent workflows, et cetera, and trying to keep it simple so you get that information in a lot quicker and avoid that month-end crush. So with that, let's go ahead and talk about what's new in the latest release. It's the October release, version 25 now. And we have our Global Senior Solutions Specialist, Lotte Belgaard, here to, after a very long couple months getting this product out the door, share with us what the latest enhancements are. So very fortunate to have Lotte here. I believe this is Lotte's last What's New webinar, so she's going to take a big sigh of relief after this. But Lotte, thank you very much for joining us today and certainly sharing all the insights.
Thank you so much, Mark. Let me share my screen. I'll just need to share it here. As Mark mentioned, I will be guiding you through the all the new features. And I've been quite excited. We've already had quite a few webinars, but on this one, I'll focus on some of the functionality which is valuable for your market. So we'll cover the highlights that will streamline the processes that Mark already mentioned. So we want to make it even quicker, even smarter, to minimize the time that you and your employees use on expense management. Okay, so we'll begin by outlining the agenda for the day. For today and setting expectations for the insights and discussions ahead. The key features and functionalities that will be highlighted today are designed to deliver value across all markets, ensuring relevant takeaways for everyone that is attending. So we'll start by exploring the web approval portal, which has received a significant and refreshing update. With this new dashboard that we are introducing in the Continia web approval portal, so if your users are approving there, and you have access to different companies, you will see a much brighter and much more clear view here. So why did we do it? We did it because with this new view, we would like to eliminate approvers from switching companies to see what needs to be approved, and again, to minimize their valuable time. So we're always focusing on minimizing the time, working smarter. That's the full focus we have on all our solutions and expense management, of course, as well. So what does it do? It gives the approvers a full overview in one page to focus on all types of documents and for all the companies that they have access to see both the document type, you see that they can see the document type and the company in one overview. And if they want to filter by company or by document type, that is possible as well. And if you're using both expense management and document capture, this is a shared approval portal. So you as an approver can approve everything, see the full view of all the documents waiting for you to be approved. So let's jump in to see the live. There it is. This is how it looks in the real life. So I can simply get in here. I can select all the purchases. So if you approve invoices as well, you will only see those type of documents, and you can even filter on the actual company. So in this case, I have access to both a UK company and a US company, and I can see all the invoices here, and then focus on maybe one company first, or focus on individual document types. And I can then clear all selections again. Easy for me to see the full view. So that is minimizing the click of going up here, changing to the other company, logging in, going back again. This is way better, way smarter, and so much more easy to do. Great. Let's jump back to the next topic. The next topic is sustainability integration. Sustainability is here. We have already prepared something in expense management in the previous version, but now it's the integration with sustainability, which is another Continia solution, is there. So if you're ready to track and report your company's environmental impact, then I suggest you sign up for sustainability. And in regards to the expense reporting, all the expenses sent in will be posted on an environmental account. So let's go a little deeper. So once you have installed Continia Sustainability in trial mode, Expense Management will recognize the installation and will present an extended set of system field types. And these new fields are meant to provide extra information related to the carbon accounting in such a way that a more detailed calculation takes place. So behind the scene, everything is working as it should, depending on the setup that you've done. So, and these new fields are calculated automatically after synchronization, and they can also be refreshed by going into configured fields and then reset to default setup. So how is it working to have this accounting on top of the financial accounting? The environmental posting is set up on expense types. So usually you create an expense type, you set up the posting where you would like it to be posted on the general ledger account. And you can now add the environmental account type and the environmental account number. So you see the example here with fuel diesel, where we've added the information. So once the user pick the expense type, it will be posted both on the general ledger and the sustainability. If you would like to have the user to have different options, that is also possible to set up. So that is set up in the also in the expense type overview. There's a new column now, continuous sustainability dependency. So when the expense user chooses and expense type. Depending on the setup, they will automatically be asked to fill in additional information. So the example you see here, where they have travel, flight, there are a few more fields popping up only when this expense type is chosen. So air travel, which airport are you going from and to, and then it's calculated the distance inside the app, and whether it's a return trip, and the distance will be calculated on that. But I would like to show you in live instead. Okay, so again, to show you a bit more in detail, with the fuel diesel, you see that this new column is new, and that's only showing if continuous sustainability has been installed. So if I go to the setup, and you will then see that there are two new columns here, the environmental account type and the environmental account number. So behind this, there's a setup, and you can define whether it's facility, vehicle, etc., any of these types, and you can link it to the sustainability account. See, there's a full range that has been set up in this example, so that it's easy for the system to know exactly where this should be posted. If I go to, let's say, I'll go to hotel country. So here with this one, I haven't set anything in the environmental account type and the account number. So the setup here is as it used to be, with only the general ledger account. But when I go to this one, let's see, have a look, show details. This is where the new fields are kicking in, because here, if I choose that expense type, I would get a set of countries that I need to add. So the carbon accounting is dependent on which country that I am having my hotel in. And if I go to field dependencies, and this is where the configured fields, sorry. This is where you see a lot of new fields here, because sustainability has been installed. These are usually not showing. And the field dependency will take care of, let's take the hotel as an example. Where is it? There. So you can see that once the expense type hotel has been picked, it will be asking the expense user the number of nights. Let's jump into the app just to show you how it works for the expense user. I'll just create a new expense. I'll put in the amount. Let's say that's 56. And I'll choose the currency. And now you see that there are certain fields that needs to be filled in, which is stated as mandatory. If I choose the payment type, and I'll choose the expense type. I would like to take the flight one. Okay, so I have the travel flight, and now all of a sudden there are a few more fields showing up. And I would need to specify the description, trip to, and I would need to choose the air travel, whether it's economy or business class, because that depends on the carbon accounting as well. And I'll go from York and into And now you see that the distance has been calculated. So in the app, all the distances has been put into the mobile app using Google Maps. So it will automatically calculate the distance of this flight. And then I can decide whether it's a return trip or not. And then I'm simply done with all the information needed. So I'll just send it. Yeah, that's right. I need an attachment. That's perfect. So I'll just simply go back to Business Central. I'll synchronize and I'll jump into the expense to have a look at it. So now there is a new area here showing all the different details being picked up from whatever the user have filled in, and all the setting from the expense type on the sustainability account. Next topic is Canadian sales tax. So we have enhanced support for tax differences for Canadian sales tax. So what does it do? The expense management creates its own tax ledger entries, simulating the output from the posting purchase invoices with tax difference. And why did we do this? We did it to help the bookkeeper, eliminating the confusing for the bookkeeper, and not to type in all this information manually every time that there's an expense that needs to be posted on different VAT. So let's jump in to have a look at the live one. If I go to, yes, this is Acronis Canada. And here, what we need to do first is that if we want to, maybe for the expense user to fill in all of this information with the tax area code and maybe the amount in HST or in GST or PST, then these three fields need to be added to the configured fields. That's the first thing to do. Then secondly, you would need to go into the expense type. Let's see, I had one here. You see that with this one, on the posting on the expense type, I've added the tax group code here. And I have also created a new expense type, food 50%, if that is what you need as well. And I've added the tax group code 50%. So let's jump into the, and I would like to show you also the, these are the tax areas and the tax details are set up here. So as for the 50%, I've added to this tax code, and I've set it to 3.5 instead of 7. And the same I've done with the with this one to make sure that it's calculating the tax correctly and posting it on the tax account instead of the general ledger account. So let's have a look at one of the expenses. Okay, so in this scenario, I have received an expense from an expense user, and it has picked up the HST amount. It's been through the OCR scan. It has picked up the HST. So you see that this is captured here, and it actually shows the tax amount, which is calculated from the setting on the expense type. So let's have a look at the posting preview. If I go to the tax entry, I can see that that has been divided into two. and it will be posted directly. Maybe it's a better example to have a look at the general ledger entries. So the 739 will be posted directly on the tax account, which is the GST HST account. Okay, let's try and choose a different tax area code and have a look at the posting preview again. So depending on the posting, the tax area. Oh, that didn't work really, did it? Okay, maybe I'll just try and type in here and then go to, because every time there's an amount typed in here, that will overrule whatever has been calculated from the expense account. So with the setting here, I would have the option to check here. Did that put, yeah, so this is the amount that it's been taken here. So now it looks a bit different because I've typed in information in the tax entries up here. Yes, I think that was it with the Canadian sales tax. The next topic is the document capture integration. So yeah, so we're integrating a lot of our solutions into expense management. And with this new feature, customers that use both document capture and expense management will be able to process the purchase in both solutions. And meaning that document capture will then, for the ease of purchase processing and for the OCR capabilities, and expense management will handle the refund to employees. So what's the pain about this functionality that we're trying to minimize is that if you're using both document capture and expense management, you might have scenarios where the employee submits an expense with an invoice, but that same invoice has also been sent to document capture, and that is captured there. So how can we make sure that we do not pay the same invoice twice? Well, the minute that the expense is sent to Business Central, it will capture the type of the document attached and telling if it's an invoice, telling that this one might, you might need to check whether it should be handled in document capture instead of in expense management. So what's the benefit? Yeah, simply to prevent posting and paying the same invoice, because that would cost a lot of money and a lot of manual work to fix it if that has been posted both in document capture, paid there, and paid to the employee. So let's have a look in live. So here I have an expense that has been sent in by the user. Let's take this one. It says this appears to be a purchase invoice. You can link it to an existing invoice using the applied purchase document number or send it to document capture using the action. So it has stopped the process from sending it in flow for approval. Of course, I can always change that because it's a configurable message. So I can go down here and I can define whether it should stop the flow or just simply still send it for approval. But it would probably be nice just to stop the flow and then handle it inside BC first of all. So what I do here, I say process with document capture. And now I get a new message down here that the document is sent to document capture and waiting to be processed. I can then finish off the process here. I can send it for approval. So I'm still I'm finishing up the document in expense management as I used to do, and I can then go to document capture. So now the document is lying here, ready to be imported. I can then import it as you usually do when you use document capture. Yes, that has now been imported. I can then go to ready to register. And now the document is lying here. The account number, it remembered from the last time that we had a purchase from this company. So I can simply just register it. So this is the process in document capture. If the document has been sent to document capture already, the invoice, it would then capture, as you see with any other invoices being sent twice, and you could then stop the process. If it is rejected in document capture, it will then be reopened in expense management. So even though it's ready, finally posted and everything, it will then be sent back to expense management. Let's have a look at one of the posted expenses. This one has been finally posted in expense management, and you see that there are additional information giving you the information that this has been handled in document capture. If I go to find entries, I can also see, once it's done counting, you can see that it has the document capture file and the document and the posting on the vendor. So the vendor, of course, in this case is both the first up consultants, and I can see the detailed employee ledger entries is the payment to the employee. So only the payment to the employee is lying in expense management, waiting to be paid directly to the employee. And everything else is handled in document capture. Okay. Let's have a look at the next topic. We have again tried to enrich the job queue setup. The new job queue setup page is available on expense management setup, and it allows the admin to easily create and remove recurring job entries, such as synchronization and approval reminders with just one click. This feature simplifies the process, saving time by eliminating the need to manually locate job codes for expense management tasks. So let's have a look. Previously, setting up the job queue, you would probably have to go to Continia Docs, find all the codes for the relevant job queues for expense management. But with this new functionality, you can easily start all relevant job queues for expense management without having to go and find all the details on Continia Docs. So we have done the job for you. You can now use your pretty head on something else. Again, I would like to show you how it works. So if I go to expense management setup, I'll go to setup and then go to job queue. So here, these are the relevant job queues for expense management. I can schedule them all in one go, or I can simply go to reminder email and then set the starting time, and all the setup is here ready to start. We have also enhanced something on the login type of the expense users. So today there are now two ways for the expense users to log into the mobile app and the expense portal. But we haven't really been able to enforce the users to use the Microsoft 365 login, which we would like to. This is now available on the Continia user setup when you create users or want to change their way of logging in as an existing user. So administrators can now view the user sign-in details. So you see that there's a new field on the Continia user setup card, and they can now enforce to log in with Microsoft 365. And if they create new users, then a welcome email will be sent guiding the user to sign in with Microsoft 365. So you can change it from Continia Online on existing users to Microsoft 365 login, but you can't go back to Continia Online again. So once you've asked them to sign in with Microsoft 365, that's the way that they have to use going forward. Let's jump into the solution just to show you. So I have a expense user here, and under expense management, you see expense management login type. I can simply choose between Continia Online or 365. Now this is an existing user. I could then set it to Microsoft 365 and then export the users, and they will be notified when they log in that that is the only option to when logging in. We have also improved the visibility of comments in expense reports. So if you would like to bundle documents on an expense report, maybe for a trip, if you're working on a project, instead of sending in single documents, previously in the previous version, if there were any warnings or errors, it was a little much to clicking around to find the actual information for the admin. So with this improvement, we are trying to make it a lot easier for the admin to see if there are any comments. So here you have an example. An expense user have sent in an expense report. We are being told as an admin that there are comments on this one, and it will be visible on the individual line exactly what is the error or the warning on this one. Again, I would like to jump into the solution and show you an example. Okay, so this one, you see down here, there are 2 errors and 5 warnings on related documents. Now, if I open the expense report, I can see all the details here, all the information that is needed. If there are more than one, which is not possible to show on the comment line here, I could simply click and I can see both the warnings and the message that there is something that needs to be done by either the expense user or the admin. And here it is telling me that there's a difference between the reported mileage and the calculated distance. So again, I can open it and or if I say that that's fine, we have allowed that, but it's nice to know, and I would then send it for approval. On the mobile app, as an expense user, you can split the expense on different lines if you want to split it on expense types or maybe dimensions. But it has been quite hard to see the attachment. And as an expense user, it's important for me to see these details when I am doing the split of the expense. So you will now be able to see the attachment on the allocation page. So no need to either write it down or go back and forth in the app. You can simply see all the details even though you're creating a new line. I'll show you that in a minute because I'll just take the two things together with the mobile app and the expense portal, because we are constantly updating the expense portal and the mobile app, and we always make sure that they are aligned so that you have the same functionality even though you choose to send in your expenses on the expense portal and the mobile app. So the ability now to add open documents to an expense report is also now available in the expense portal. That has been available for quite some versions for the mobile app, but we've had requests as some customers are mainly using the expense portal for the users to send in their expense documents. So let's have a look. So here I have a few documents lying and open. I haven't submitted them yet because I had a few details that I was missing before I could submit this one. If I go to expense report, I have an expense report where I add documents every time I am on my trip, if I have a hotel bill to pay or a mileage or anything else. So I can, of course, create new documents here, but I can also pick up documents which I've already created. Could be a company credit card expense that has been created automatically, or one that I've created, simply not submitted yet. I can simply go there and I can then click and say save and continue. And now these are added to the expense report. Way easier for me to submit all of them together instead of sending single documents. Well, that was the walkthrough from me. Thank you for attending. Bye.